Hey folks, thought I would shoot a video tonight to show some of the pickups I made during this record store day weekend. I didn't really pick up a whole lot of actual record store day releases, but I certainly went to the record shops and tried to support local record shops this weekend. I went to the Fat Rabbit on Friday night, and then I went to the Great Escape Saturday morning for the actual event. From there I went to Underground Sounds, and then today I went back to the Fat Rabbit and picked up quite a bit of stuff, really cool stuff, and so let's get into it. So Friday night, like I said, after I got off work, I went out to the Fat Rabbit, and I've learned as I go into the Fat Rabbit to look in their windowsill, see what they have, what they've put out. And the first title I saw was Iced Earth, Days of Purgatory. I had a conversation with Scott Waters about this when he, in the comments of his video where he showed the vinyl on this, and I was interested, one, because I've heard good things about the band Iced Earth, and I've been interested in trying to check them out. Also, because I'm a comic book geek, I immediately recognized that this was a character, an actual comic book character, not just for the cover. The character is Purgatory. She's a Image Comics character. Now, doing some research afterwards, I've found out that there's a 2-disc version. So I don't know if I would have picked this up had I known that. But I only paid a couple bucks for it, so I'll listen to this a while, and if I really like it, I might go pick up the 2-disc version. But gotta love that cover artwork. Pretty cool. If you're, I don't know why I'm such a sucker for comic book art on album covers, but I am. So I went into the store and ran into another Iced Earth CD. This one's called The Dark Ages, I believe. No, The Dark Saga. Terrible eyesight. Okay, The Dark Saga. Of course, that's Image Comics character, the Spawn, on the cover. So that was cool to pick up. What are you doing, Jake? Anyway, I've been listening a lot to the VC talk about this next band, and I found a DVD, Halloween High Live, and so that's been in the DVD player, and I really like this band sound. I'm going to have to check out some of the albums that you all keep raving about from this band. So that was part of what I picked up Friday night. I picked up a bunch of albums. The first album I'm going to show is a compilation album. I didn't know it at the time, but that's cool. I still would have bought it because a lot of these albums I only paid a couple bucks for, and for each of them. And I definitely would have picked this up regardless. The first one is Rematch, Sammy Hagar. And this is a compilation album, I guess, of stuff he had previously done. He had just left Capitol Records for another record label. And Rick Springfield had made a huge hit out of his song I've Done Everything for You, which is one of my favorite Springfield songs, and I admit I'm a Springfield fan. I guess I'm just where I'm a child of the 80s, teenager during those years. I like Springfield. Of course, the Capitol record. They obviously had bought a collection from someone, and whoever it was they really kept their records nice. So I bought quite a few of them. This next album is a jazz album. Good saxophonist. His name's Stanley Turrentine. This is Nightwings. Not familiar with this title, but I like Stanley Turrentine, and I'll give him a shot anytime, especially just for a couple bucks. The next album I'm very familiar with, great band. It's The Call. This is Reconciled. One of my favorite songs, I Still Believe, is from this album. Great album. Was very happy to pick that up for a couple bucks. And then I'm not familiar with this album, but I sure give it a shot. It's The Call, Modern Romans. And it's on a different label. I guess I should have shown the vinyl on The Call, Reconciled. That album is on the Elektra label. Modern Romans was on a different label. Modern Romans was on Mercury. Great cover art. Love that cover. Also picked up Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. Just such a great classic cover. And of course it was in great shape and on Epic. Very happy to pick up some Meatloaf. The next band is not that well known. I guess their music generally falls in a category. I guess I would call it Americana maybe, because it kind of runs the gamut between rock, folk, and country. Of course, Americana really wasn't a term I heard a lot back then. This was from the 70s. Mason Prophet. The band's always intrigued me. Well, it's a gatefold. Let me show you the whole picture. Of course, they're hanging a couple guys. It's kind of a western cover where they're hanging a couple guys, and on the inside, it's kind of a wanted poster of Mason Prophet. I've been interested in this band because two of Christian music's musicians came out of this band, John Michael Talbot and Terry Talbot. One became a priest, and they've made a lot of Christian music since then, but this is where they got their start. I found another Mason Prophet album, again real cheap, so I picked it up. This one is, I had the strangest dream last night. No, last night I had the strangest dream. Very curious to hear this album. Haven't heard it, but really looking forward to it. I guess we'll jump to country next. Couldn't believe I found this album. It's actually a 2-album set, and I got it for $3. Yeah, Willie and Family live. Again, it's a gatefold. Some great pictures of Willie and the band. Very excited about any Willie Nelson that I can get. Love this album from the 80s. Steve Winwood, Roll With It. Well, I guess I should have shown it this way. Love the song Roll With It. I have a lot of this lady's albums. Pat Benatar, Wide Awake in Dreamland. This has one of my favorite Benatar songs all fired up on it. So I was very glad to pick this up for a couple bucks. Again, I was talking to Scott in his comments about the band Thin Lizzy, and I had told him that I had seen Jailbreak in a record shop and had not picked it up. Well, I found it again, great shape, and I didn't make that mistake twice. I went ahead and grabbed Jailbreak. Very glad to have that. Then, of course, every time I hear the Scorpions, I like them a little more. And I found their classic album, Love at First Sting. The next album I got for $3. Could not believe it. Absolutely ecstatic. Soundtrack to my favorite movie of all time, The Blues Brothers. So cool to have that. So that was the first night at the Fat Rabbit. Whoops. So I tried to knock stuff over. So then the next morning I went to the Great Escape for the actual record store day event. And I picked up 2 items. Neither one of them real expensive, but I'm glad to have them. The first thing I picked up was, of course, the Def Leppard EP. Funny thing about this album, I put this on this afternoon and couldn't believe my ears. I'm thinking, what is wrong with this album? Looked at it sounded like something was wrong with my turntable. I thought maybe the speed was off or something, but and I looked at the cover. The cover even says 33. I just couldn't figure out why does Joe Elliott sound like a baritone? And so I went to YouTube and pulled up a rip of this album, and I'm thinking, well, theirs doesn't sound like this. So just out of curiosity, I flipped my stereo over to 45, and now it sounds like what I'm hearing on YouTube. To whoever made this album, how about helping a brother out and and telling me that I need to play this at 45 in order to hear it correctly. I mean, it is cool to have. Could have done without thinking my stereo was broke. Anyway, the next thing, I'm really happy with this purchase. I picked up Saxon Into the Labyrinth. Not familiar with Saxon. This is my first Saxon album. Played it yesterday. I think I will become a Saxon fan. Thought their sound is awesome. And plan on picking up some more Saxon in the future. So those were my two actual record store day release pickups. I picked up from there. I went to Underground Sounds. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit and getting a little long. So these are $1. I got these CDs for $1, except the last one, which I paid $5, but it's a newer album, and didn't mind. So the first one is Robert Cray, Strong Persuader. Got a very good reputation as a blues guitarist. Of course, love Emmylou Harris, so I couldn't pass this up. Emmylou Harris and the Nash Ramblers, Live at the Ryman. My head almost exploded when I saw that this was a 99. I picked this CD up for 99 cents. It's Metal Church. It's their new album. I guess that's 11. Real glad to have that for $1. And then I picked up Ben and Ellen Harper. The album's called Childhood Home. I guess it's Ben Harper and his mother. Can't wait to hear this. I am a big Ben Harper fan. Love his music. Okay, so that was some of the $1 CDs I picked up at Underground Sounds. Then, of course, this afternoon I went back and got some of the albums I didn't pick up at Fat Rabbit on Friday. So let's get right into those before I make this an hour-long video. The first one, I don't know this band. It's Rock Goddess and Hell Hath No Fury. I'm sorry I could not pass this up. 3 women posing. She's got her foot on a skull. Here, let me take it out of the... see it a little bit better. She's got her foot on a skull. They're trying to look, got a little weird. All the effort to look heavy metal in this album cover. It's either going to be a good album or it's going to be epically bad. And if it's epically bad, I'll have a good time with it because I love stuff that's epically bad. But yeah, so this is interesting. Hell Hath No Fury. I didn't know I loved you till I saw you rock and roll. That's gotta be a classic. Gotta Let Your Hair Down. Don't Want to Be Your Love. Don't Want Your Love. Then they close the song with God Be With You. Okay. Okay, that's Rock Goddess. Can't wait to check that album out. Then, of course, I had to go back for this. It's a classic ZZ Top, Eliminator. You know, had to have this in the collection. So I grabbed that. And I also grabbed ZZ Top Afterburner. Then, one of my favorite bands, U2, The Unforgettable Fire. Very glad to pick that up at at a more than reasonable price. And then these were probably of the used stuff was the most expensive stuff. They were averaging about $7, but $7 for these titles, each one is really pretty good. Bruce Springsteen, The River. It's got a little bit of wear up here on the corner, but otherwise this is out of that same collection, and the vinyl's really good. So I'm very excited about having this double album from Springsteen, The River. And then more Springsteen, Nebraska. Very glad to have gone back and gotten that one. And of course, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Maybe my favorite Springsteen album. I think this is a gatefold as well. So, and that was my record store weekend. A lot of great albums at some ridiculously good prices. Had one other thing. I guess I'll close the show with this. This was not an actual. I actually bought this album, pre-ordered this album a long time. It came in Thursday, right before all the record store day stuff started. But I tell you what, of all the releases, this might even be the coolest. From Roxx Records, I picked up Sacred Warrior, Master's Command. And that came in on a really cool blue vinyl. And of course, you've got the custom center rings. The Roxx record logo. Love Roxx Records. And that was my record store day weekend. And very happy about the whole score. So I hope you all had a great record store day and weekend, and hope you're doing well, and hope to be chatting with some of you soon. Hope you're having a great night. Have a good week, and I will probably be putting up a video in a couple days, and I'll talk to you then. Thank you. Good night.